King Kong has endured for 80 years because he's a piece of pop culture now. He's an icon. So it's not even just the movie in 2005. It's the legacy of Kong as a whole. And so, that's why we felt an enormous pressure to give people what they love about a King Kong movie and what they love about King Kong, but then to show them something new and to tell them a new story for the first time, to show them new worlds and new creatures and new things. And so, believe me, I lost a lot of sleep, and I probably shaved 10 years off my life. It was a very long and stressful process, because on one hand I have this responsibility to make King Kong as meaningful as the previous King Kong films. On the other hand, I have this responsibility to myself about shooting Vietnam in a way that's gorgeous and stunning and shows the rest of the world what it was. So we constantly, there was always pressure. We were always just trying to make it great. That sets aside the culture, the food, the people, just everything else. I'm just talking about locations, right? So you take away that other super amazing aspect of it. Just speaking in terms of locations, there's nowhere else on the planet like it. So I would love to think that more people will see this movie and say, we should go shoot there. Because there's so much more. We've only scratched the surface. We've only exposed a small amount of how gorgeous this country is. There's an infinite amount of places in this country that should be on screen. And so, I would love to think that more people will be attracted to it and discover it and want to come here and shoot. That was a scene that we ended up shooting later, and that was, we shot that in the United States. We shot that in Los Angeles. So we had to go and do a casting call of Vietnamese American actors who were in the United States, who could speak Vietnamese, who could feel authentic. And that's always tricky. I would have loved to have also shot something like that here, and I actually tried to get my friend Vaughn. I was trying to put her in that role, but there was a visa issue, so we couldn't do it. I'm gonna sleep for a little bit, and I want to move to Vietnam and make things here for a little bit, make commercials and work with artists here and collaborate and shoot a smaller movie here before I even think about another giant monster movie. I'd like to shoot a movie here with more Vietnamese talent. I'd like to collaborate with artists here. But I just want to make something, this was such a big thing and this took 2.5 years. I want to make something fast, and I want to make something that's very personal, with a very small team of people, who just are, going back to my indie roots, where it's just a bunch of actors that are family, a bunch of crew that's family, and just making something. I live in LA, which is it's a lovely place, but it's a very ego-driven place. Everyone is always looking out for themselves. And it's filled with some of the most incredible people I've ever met on the planet, but there's a core to Los Angeles that is about looking out for yourself. And I find that the people here are gracious and kind, and I find that they appreciate life and appreciate the small things. And I'm from the Midwest, which is not, I'm from Michigan, which is not it's not like LA or New York. It's a very in the United States, you would say oh, it's a Midwest quality if someone's very down to earth and kind. And I find that the Vietnamese people remind me of Midwest people, where they're all just incredible. I've met such incredible friends here, and I've met such incredible sort of colleagues here and people that I admire and love hanging out with and working with and everything. I think in the next couple of years, the Vietnamese voice and the Vietnamese movies are going to really take center stage. I think that you look at something like The Raid, yes, which that's a film that came out of a country that the film industry was not really, people weren't really paying attention to it. And then something like The Raid comes out and people say, oh my God. You know, or you look at films like Old Boy and things coming out of South Korea where suddenly everyone was just super focused on that film industry because everyone was popping and making amazing stuff at the same time. And I think in the next couple of years, it's a matter of time before the same thing happens in Vietnam because there's such incredible talent here. You know? And I think that it's a matter of time before like really already incredible movies have come out of here. You know, you look at the movie that someone like Vaughn made last year, you know, like Vietnamese Fairy Tale, you know, with Tam Kam, and like it's inspiring the work that people are doing here, and I just think it's this much time before it just explodes on a world stage. About my beard? It's too long. I need to I look like an idiot. I look like a monster. Well, I've always had dumb facial hair. Ever since I was a kid, when I was like 14, I would have like sideburns or like a porn star mustache or like Civil War mustache. I've always had some dumb facial hair. And I started growing it, or I shaved pretty like around when I started this movie. And when I make a movie, I just am like fully all in. Like I can't do anything else. I live, breathe, and sleep the movie. And so it just started growing, and it didn't stop. And now it's this long, and I look like an idiot. I'm very sorry. I know I look like an idiot. Please forgive me. I have a very good face under this every once in a while when I shave every couple of years. But yeah, it's just now it's here, and I'm like stuck with it. If I shaved, no one would recognize me anymore.